whatever you do in your life, and every one of you, especially the young people here, please remember this and watch this example. And that is that if you don't actually know what you want to do, and you don't stay true to your vision, and you don't actually, at the end of the day, keep focused on where you want to get to, you will fail. Because there will be so many things that come in and out, influence you and everything else. And you have to stay true to that. And what's more, I can promise you now, to achieve whatever you want to achieve ain't going to be easy. It really is not. F1 in Schools has been going since 2000. And if it wasn't for Andrew, it really would not exist. And I have to tell you, you should all put your hands together for Andrew Denford. You're probably looking at this rather middle-aged fat git. And, no, not Andrew, me. You might be thinking, well, how does he end up as a patron of F1 in Schools, and what does he know about motor racing? Let me take you back to a cross-channel ferry from Dover to Calais in 1968, in March 1968. I was 12, and we were going on a school trip, actually, to Belgium. And on that same cross-channel ferry that morning was a motor racing team going to participate in a Formula 2 event in Germany. And one of my heroes, who I'd only got his photograph on the wall in my bedroom, was on that cross-channel ferry, and I got his autograph. And he actually signed my bit of paper, but then he said, just a minute, and I'm not joking, this man turned around, he went off, he asked a few people, and he came back with a signed photograph. And 6 days later, Jim Clark was dead. And I have never forgotten that day. And to me, a hero died that day. And I kept that photograph, and I've still got it today. And that had a lasting impression on me, that you can be the most important man in the world. He was world champion, probably the greatest racing driver of his time. And he had the time to give this little anonymous kid not just his autograph, but went back and got his photograph. And I've always thought to myself, anybody who actually achieves any form of greatness, to give time to young people is one of the greatest privileges you can ever have. And Lewis Hamilton coming here on Thursday, my friends, make the most of it, because that's exactly what he's doing. To see, and I use this in the proper use of the word, the circus of Formula One bring this excellence, this pursuit of excellence around the world has been the most enormous privilege. And therefore to be a patron of F1 in Schools to me was a privilege in itself, but also one of the easiest decisions I ever made. You see what we have to do in difficult times, and there isn't anybody from any country in the world here this morning whose country isn't experiencing worse times than they were 2 years ago. What we have to do is ensure that our young people make friends across borders that last a lifetime. Because people who talk to each other, people who understand each other, people who trade with each other, don't tend to go to war with each other. They don't tend to do nasty stuff because they've got some skin in the game of tomorrow. And if this project, if these championships can do anything, it is that when you get back on your planes or in your cars at the weekend, I want you, every one of you, please don't go home without at least 5 phone numbers and addresses from people who, when you started last weekend, you'd never heard of. And then please work at keeping in touch. As you grow and develop, you're going to have loads of influences on not keeping in touch. Of course you are. But just keep writing and emailing, just keep calling. Every time as your jobs, whatever you do, take you to anywhere, look them up. Because people who talk, communicate and trade just build a more peaceful world. And that is in the interests of all of us. And F1 in Schools matters. If I told you there are 31 teams taking part in 20 countries, that's fabulous for something that this is just the 5th World Championship. Something that matters enormously to me is 35% of all F1 in Schools students are female. That, and especially in some countries, is so important that we actually ensure that women in this world are not just equal in lip service, but equal in what we do. And this is another way in which we can achieve that. 66% of all students in F1 in schools actually want to become engineers or scientists. And at the same time, 80% of them actually realize that it's going to do wonders for their communication and team building skills. 12,500 schools registered to take part this year. You, my friends, are very, very special. The number of schools aware that it exists is over 40,000, and the number of students who are aware that this exists in the world is over 14 million. My God, you're special. Now, what we have to do is by Thursday get a winner. That's your job, not mine. Thank heaven. But do remember this: if you win this, you wouldn't have won it if others hadn't got the courage and guts to take part. And when you get back on your planes and you go home, if you go home with the trophy, I hate you. If you go home with the trophy, do remember that you're very lucky. Yes, you're the best, but you're also very lucky, because if it wasn't for all the others here, then you would never have been able to win anything. And do me one favor, whether you come first or if you actually don't come in the top few, whatever you do, when you go home, steep down, round and under, someone for whom this is just completely out of their scope. People who think that this has all passed them by. People who think that really this isn't for them. And just excite them and inspire them with the thrill of winning, with the thrill of participation, and with the thrill of making friends. Because if you win, or if you come in the top few, actually you've taken on a responsibility. The graciousness of winning is all about doing it for someone else. That's what Jim Clark did for me.